What's up, everybody? I'm Dan Kornhauser,
I'm Bobby Hunt.
and thank you guys for tuning in for the final part of our 2020 NFL Draft preview for the defensive side of the ball. We've covered edge rushers, defensive interior linemen, linebackers, and corners. And now we're at the final level of the defense, safety position. It's an interesting class. I don't have many highly rated guys. I only have one in my first round grades, but it's a talented crop, albeit a bit top heavy and doesn't really have much depth to speak of. But I'm excited to see where we rank some of these guys. Do you have any first round safeties, Bob?
I only have one, and just barely. That was Grant Delpit of LSU at my last spot for first round grades, which was number 22 on my draft board. Then it goes to Xavier McKinney from Alabama, not far off of that at number 26 on my big board. And I, too, am not a huge fan of this safety grouping. So if we're keeping track at home, I don't love the tight ends. I don't like the linebackers really, outside of some top end guys, and safety, similar thing. Even at the top, there's question marks about Delpit and McKinney too, and it's been a theme as it is all the time with draft prospects. Beyond the top level guys and the very top of the draft boards, there's a lot of players that need to be in certain schemes and get with certain programs and coaches and defensive fronts, and it's no different even for the safeties, even on the back end. And there's enough holes in these guys' game that I don't think necessarily that we're going to even see one get in the first round. It's been a devalued position similar to running back, and we've seen a lot of safeties over the past few years slide into the second round, even though we thought they'd be first rounders. Landon Collins, one of the first ones to come to mind.
Well, that's fair. Although I would say with someone like Landon Collins, it was because he wasn't good in coverage, which showed in the league. He was pretty piss poor in coverage overall
And he
with
still
the
is.
Giants, and he still fucking is. Yeah. So
I mean, he was the
some of
first
them.
pick of the second round, but still, he did slide there. There is a difference in their
Mhm.
contracts. And I mean, yeah, you can't call yourself a first rounder.
No, no, you
Technically not.
cannot.
I mean, you could say
But
it. Yeah, you could say it technically, but it wouldn't be accurate.
well, for me, I have one safety as well with a first round grade. I have him at number 18 overall, but it's Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Delpit falls for me at number 26 with a second round grade. I had him originally with a first round grade, but there's enough questions there that dropped him down for me behind Antoine Winfield Jr. from Minnesota, who is at number 24
Okay.
overall for me. So those are my top three safeties at the moment. The reason I have McKinney up as number 18 overall and as my only first round graded safety is because from what I've seen since 2018, not only was he one of Alabama's best defensive players, but he was their best player in their secondary last year. And I think he is one of the more complete safeties in this class. He's someone who, in coverage, can play man to man. He can play zone. He can cover slot guys. He can cover tight ends. He's got enough speed and athleticism to do the job. I think he's more of a free safety, simply because my biggest beef with him is that he's a little thin and he doesn't really look too good as a tackler. Um, Tackling is a big thing for him. I think his slight frame is a part of that, and he could probably be a better playmaker. But other than that, that's nitpicking. I mean, I don't know what else you would want from a safety. He's someone who can play cover three real well, cover two real well, play man to man real well. Um, he can cover big receivers who like to play in the slot or something like that. Guys like Larry Fitzgerald who likes to play in the slot at 6'3". Guys like that. He can cover guys like that. He's got those hips that I was talking about being stiff and stuff like that. When we're talking about linebackers and corners, he doesn't have that problem. He's a good athlete. He's a good leader. He can play different spots on the field. He can play up on the line, but again, you don't want him there. That's not where he'll excel rather. Um, and he played well against quality competition, which is what you look for. It's one thing to just be a quality offensive player on a defense with 11 first round, 11 draft picks around you, but it's another to stand out. And to me, McKinney stood out.
Yeah, McKinney does stand out in certain areas like that, and I think he could be definitely better in coverage at the next level than, say, Grant Delpit. I just think Delpit might make a more of an impact in the run game and probably does profile more as a strong safety. Definitely has some tape of getting beat and getting exposed out there. I'm not going to lie about it. And that is why I just don't feel as strongly about the safety position as other positional groupings. It falls in line with the tight ends and linebackers as, to me, just – having some nice pieces, but not nearly the high level at, say, even at linebacker, where you have Simmons and you have Patrick Queen or Kenneth Murray. I think there's enough questions about all these guys. And what you said about McKinney is very accurate. I mean, I do see where people rank him the highest safety of all these guys, but there's holes in all their games. Winfield Jr. I do like as well. Clearly has the bloodlines. His dad was a very productive corner for the Vikings in his career. Also spent time, I believe, with the Bills toward the end. It was Winfield, maybe someone else. I don't know. At least with the Vikings, it was mainly. Well, he's mainly with the Vikings.
Vikings and Bills.
I feel like he might have been on the Bills at the end, but either way, it was primarily with the Vikings. And honestly, we see plenty of players. Not that it means a whole lot, but we do see plenty of guys who, just are able to play because they have those bloodlines. They just have that flat out talent. Now he's got to prove it at the next level and obviously put in the effort, play well within whatever scheme and system he's in. But I do think Winfield will be someone that will excel at the next level regardless of his size, because his dad did it. And I think he's not afraid to mix it up in the run game either, which is sometimes a knock on a lot of corners and safeties.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for Winfield, his diminutive size is a concern, but I tend to agree with you with the safety class in that it's a lot of good pieces, but you question if it's anyone who has any of them are going to be one of those upper echelon hoes. Or any of these guys going to develop into a Pro Bowler or something like that right away, in the first couple of years. Maybe down the line, maybe in the right system, but not someone you see as a plug and play right away potential Pro Bowler.
Yeah, almost every other position I look at and I see someone that's either maybe a perennial Pro Bowler as a ceiling or an All-Pro. I just don't see that at the safety position, for example.
So how many safeties do you have ranked in your top 100?
Not a lot, but a decent amount considering what I've been saying about the safeties. I do have, 7 in my top 100. So some of the other names like Ashton Davis out of California, Jeremy Chin out of Southern Illinois. And partially to me, I think why it's weak is you see a lot of small school prospects being talked about because teams aren't in love with some of the safeties at the higher level program. So Jeremy Chin coming from Southern Illinois, they don't even play in the FBS. And then you have Kyle Duggar out of Lenoir-Rhyne, which I believe is a Division II school.
and those are two guys that have actually been two of the bigger risers in this postseason circuit or pre-draft circuit, whichever you prefer to say. What would be your top 5 currently? I know you have Delpit at 1. What's your top 5 looking like?
So McKinney's 2 and it has a second round grade. Antoine Winfield's second round grade, third safety, excuse me. So he's at 41 overall. Ashton Davis is at 56, and he's my 4th safety. And then I have Jeremy Chin as my 5th safety out of Southern Illinois, and he's 59th overall on my big board. I definitely think we're going to disagree here.
Oh, we're going to disagree, Bob. Oh, just stretching because it's going to be a fucking show. Yeah, we're going to disagree big time. I couldn't disagree with you more on some of these fucking guys. I have 8 safeties in my top 100. My top 5 includes only 1 first-round grade in McKinney at number 18 overall. However, I've got 4 second-round grades. Actually, no, I think I have 5 second-round grades. Give me 1 sec. Let me go to my big chart. And, no, yeah, 4. 4 second-round grades. So rounding out my top 5, 1 through 5, of course, we're going to start with McKinney. I got Antoine Winfield Jr. at number 2. At number 24, Grant Delpit, number 3. 26 overall, Jeremy Chin, number 4, 36 overall, and Kyle Duggar at 5th at number 67. I do have Ashton Davis, just for a side note, at number 6 at number 70.
Okay, it's not far off from mine. I have Kyle Duggar at 77 overall, if you were curious. So a little further down on my board. I worry about the Division II prospect, but definitely someone who's still, to me, a day 2 pick.
No, yeah, absolutely. Which is fine. It's not a bad thing. But Bob, I'm just curious, why do you have Delpit as your top prospect?
It's really close. Like I said, I mean, he's close with McKinney. I only have him 4 spots higher on the big board. I just feel that he'll be more of an impactful player in the box at strong safety. There's questions enough about either of them. I mean, that's one of those things. I mean, yeah, if you like McKinney more, great. I just think maybe Delpit is easier to slide in at strong safety and just not worry about it. But McKinney, hey, I mean, he has the ball skills. I mean, he's definitely better in that area. So you look in the first round, even these guys could go in the first round. Will they? Probably gun to our head, we're probably saying no as of right now, because it does get devalued. And there's just so many other good players at different positions that could be picked late in the first round. But you see a team like the Seahawks, they could definitely be looking for a safety there at 27. Maybe even the Packers, they still have problems at safety. So those are just a couple teams that I look at that maybe will take him there. Take either of them, Delpit or McKinney. But basically, I like Delpit slightly more. I think the talent's there, but it's splitting hairs. McKinney, if someone has him higher, I definitely understand it. It's based on what you need. I mean, if you need a strong safety more, I'd rather take Delpit, basically.
Fair enough. Well, for me, I really like Jeremy Chin, man. I think he's a real quality starting safety potentially. My only issues with guys like Delpit and Chin, I mean, all these guys who are in the second round are in the second round for specific reasons. So Delpit, for example, 2018 tape was amazing, but he was dealing with injuries this past year, and I think it really did affect his play, and the tape was a little mediocre. So you want to know, is he really healthy, and is he that 2018 player where he was an elite safety, an elite player, and a likely first-round pick? Or is he more what 2019 showed, or was he more bothered by the injury? We'll know soon enough. I like Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin is one of those in-the-box safeties. He's stiff, as we had been talking about prior, in the hips, and he's not really someone you're going to want to cover anyone, really. He's not a coverage safety. But that doesn't lessen his value, because there is still a place for those guys in the league. And even if he plays nickel linebacker, because he's 6'3", 221, is what he measured up at the combine. 6'3", he's the tallest safety in my rankings, and 221, he's also the heaviest. So, I mean, at 221 pounds, even if you want to look at some linebackers, dude, Simmons is 238, Queen is 229, Akeem Davis Gaither is 224. So, like, you can make it as a linebacker at 225, which, if Jeremy Chin is playing in the NFL, why can't he play at 220, 225? But he's more of an in the box guy, but I really like his potential. I think with him in the right system, somebody that used him properly, I think he could really shine. And with a guy like Ashton Davis, I like him too. I have him at number 70 overall, and early third round grade for me. But he's an athlete first and foremost. He's very raw otherwise. He's not, he's got the physical, athletic profile to be good in coverage, but it's just not quite right for me. He's missing something for me. Do you see any of these guys, maybe a later safety prospect, potentially coming out and shining in some particular role, or do you pretty much see just the top guys as more starters, and then the rest more filler backup types? What are you feeling about some of these guys?
I definitely feel like there's more backup types in here mixed in this safety class. Kyle Duggar, I do think, out of Lenoir-Rhyne, even though, yeah, he is lower on my rankings because of the concerns about the jumping competition. But I do think that he could be someone that outperforms his draft status, and if he gets in the right scheme, will be able to do it right away and be a productive player. So he's one that I do think, there's not a lot of tape that I was able to find. I mean, he's got Lenoir-Rhyne, not many people.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, I mean, I can't give enough of an honest assessment. I am going a lot off of, what I read and what rumors I hear. But he's maybe someone that is a gem later on that could contribute, especially say on special teams. I mean, safety is very commonly it's a position where you're going to have special teamers. You're going to have gunners. You're going to have people on kick return units, on kickoffs. And I definitely see some of those guys probably contributing more so there right away than being a starter for sure. I mean, maybe they'll rotate in at times on defensive packages, but outside of the top three or so, I don't see anyone being a day one starter, especially only if there's an injury. Should some of these other guys really be a starter year one?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Whereas for me, I can see any of my top three guys being starters from day one. Chin, I have a little bit concerned about. It's got to be the right system, like I said. Same thing with Duggar and Davis. But these guys intrigue me. I do have Brandon Jones from Texas at number 81 as well. So he's another guy who's got a third-round grade for me. So I think there's options, and that's all you're looking for really when it comes to some of these positions. Do you have any questions or concerns or anything like that you want to bring up for the safety position at this point?
Well, I do have one betting-related question, and this one's interesting because I think we both feel the same way on this, and therefore it would be a great bet to bet on, basically. But which pick will Xavier McKinney be drafted? And they right now have set the line at 24.5. So will he go below that or over that? And for reference sake, let's see who's picking at that spot. Now, obviously, trade's going to happen and screw this all up.
New Orleans.
Right now, New Orleans is 24 and the Vikings are 25.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under on that. He's my number one safety. I think his ceiling is as high as number 17 to the Cowboys. Since they lost Byron Jones and they added some veterans to their defensive line, they do still have gaping holes in the secondary. I don't trust what they have at corner, and I don't trust what they have at safety. So I could definitely see them potentially addressing at least the safety position with McKinney in the first round at number 17. But if it's not them, the Dolphins, the Jaguars need secondary help. There's a couple other teams.
Your connection's not holding up very well here.
Oh, no. No, I was just saying I'll take the under.
Okay.
Cowboys at 17 is the highest I think he'd go. A safety would go.
When I was talking earlier, I was looking at the late first round, and I just don't see a lot of options for where a safety might go. So I certainly think Delpit will slide into the second round. I do think most talent evaluators probably do have McKinney a little bit higher than Grant Delpit, especially some of the injury concerns with Delpit. But Cowboys has been a team that people have been mocking as safety too for years. They still badly need one. That could certainly be a position that they address there. But I just feel like with all the receivers and tackles and even corners, I think teams like the Jaguars and the Eagles, the Vikings are probably going to prioritize those positions a little more, in my opinion. But at 24.5, it's definitely an interesting one. I think that's a good line, and I kind of lean toward what you're saying, that it probably will be under 24.5, and he probably will be the one safety that goes off the board in the first round.
Fantastic. So I think with that puts a wonderful lid on what we'll say is our defensive NFL 2020 defensive position by position preview. We've given you our top fives pretty much at every position. We've discussed in-depth early picks, mid-round picks, late picks. There's going to be a lot of movement going on in this draft. We've done the offensive side in detail. We've done the whole defensive side in detail. There's one thing left to do, and that's a mock draft. And we will be doing that mock draft with the help of a special guest. And I'm really excited for this. And I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. But in the meantime, give us a follow, give us a like, share with your friends and fiends. And Bob, we're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. What's our handle?
That handle would be DB Talking Sports. D as in Dan, B as in Bob. Tried to keep it consistent, so that's what it is on Instagram, on Twitter, and then even on YouTube. Our channel is DB Talking Sports. So try to keep it consistent, easy for everyone, but also subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you use, especially iTunes. That's what I use and a lot of people use. Give us a like, follow, give us 5 stars on our podcast episodes. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. We appreciate any and all feedback so we can improve our content and give you more of what you want to hear and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
That's what I'm fucking talking about. And we will respond. Send us messages, hop in them DMs. We don't send dickies, so don't worry, unless you want them. But no, we talk sports here, baby. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys follow us. Give us a shout. Look out for our mock draft coming up. I'm Dan Kornhauser.
And I am Bobby Gunn.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys later.